Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Tensions are running high as the Polish Parliament is preparing to vote on whether to ratify the President's decision to introduce a state of emergency along the country's border with Belarus. The Liberal faction of the opposition is vehemently opposed to the idea that the measure is needed to curb the wave of illegal immigrants that started moving after the Belarusian President, Alexander Lukashenko, started the operation to fly in Middle Eastern migrants to Belarus, only to send them in the direction of Poland, Latvia and Lithuania. The Sejm is in session after President Andrzej Duda submitted a decree on the introduction of a state of emergency on the Polish-Belarusian border. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki stressed that this is the first time there has been such a tense situation at the border, reminiscing about the warning about aggression from the east given by the late President Lech Kaczynski in Tbilisi during the Russian invasion of Georgia in 2008. Today Georgia, tomorrow Ukraine, then potentially the Baltic Sea, and then it could be time for my country, Poland. Those words by President Kaczynski could have come across as a warning until recently, but now it's becoming a reality, and this is clear to everyone. The Law and Justice Party is counting on the support of MPs of the right-wing Confederation Party to ratify the President's decision. The ruling party is convinced that the introduction of a state of emergency will strengthen control over the border. We are of the opinion that this is a rational solution and it should be done to stabilise the situation. It's also about sending a signal on the international stage, making it clear that Poland will guard its borders. Many MPs from the largest opposition party, the Civic Platform Party, have declared that they will also refuse to vote for stricter measures at the border. We have doubts because this state of emergency is not something that works against Lukashenko, but rather against citizens. It violates the rights of the media who are supposed to be able to cover these events. A state of emergency has been imposed on parts of Podlaskie and Lubelskie provinces. Journalists have had to leave the area immediately bordering Belarus. New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has come under heavy pressure to pass legislation that would tighten counter-terrorism laws this month. This comes after a well-known Islamicist monitored by the police managed to stab 7 random people in a supermarket. Police shot dead the 32-year-old attacker, a Sri Lankan national who had been convicted and imprisoned for about 3 years before being released in July, moments after he launched his stabbing spree on Friday. Ardern said earlier the man was inspired by the Islamic State militant group and was being monitored constantly but could not be kept in prison by law any longer. The counter-terror legislation bill criminalises planning and preparation that might lead to a terror attack, closing what critics have said has been a loophole allowing plotters to stay free. But Ardern said it would not be fair to assume that tighter law would have made a difference in this case.
We're aware now that there were a total of 7 people injured yesterday. There are 5 people in hospital. 3 are in a critical condition. The remaining victims have been treated and are recovering at home. I know we are all continuing to think of them and the traumatic experience that they have been through.
Ardern said the man arrived in New Zealand in 2011 and was not known to hold any extreme views. He first came to the police's attention in 2016 after he made concerning posts on Facebook. He was later arrested at Auckland Airport, where authorities believed he was travelling to Syria. In August 2018, he was charged with possession of objectionable material and possessing weapons.
There are issues relating to his immigration status and actions taken by Immigration New Zealand in particular, which I cannot share just yet. The remaining information I hope we will be able to share within the next 24 hours. I'm also unable to share his name, but I would note this is not something I had any intention of sharing regardless. No terrorist, whether alive or deceased, deserves their name to be shared for the infamy they were seeking.
Police said they shot him within a minute of the start of the attack. The new head of the Serbian Orthodox Church in Montenegro, Bishop Jovan Ikia II, has been enthroned at the monastery in the town of Sejm. Meanwhile, hundreds of protesters opposed to the enthronement set up roadblocks and clashed with police in the worst outbreak of public violence for years. The ceremony to appoint Bishop Jovan Ikia II to the top clerical position in the country, known as the Metropolitan of Montenegro and Archbishop of Sejm, exposed deep divisions in the small Balkan country over its ties with Serbia. Montenegro left its union with Serbia in 2006, but its church did not get any autonomy and remains under the Serbian Orthodox Church, making it a symbol of Serbian influence for some in the country. Serbian Patriarch Porfirije was flown to the ceremony by helicopter and had to be escorted by police with a bulletproof shield. I'm I am happy to cooperate with my clergy in joint prayers services in carrying joint concerns and difficulties. I rejoice in my people who carry their crosses and who showed so much love and loyalty to the church and its shrines. Montenegro police used tear gas against rock-throwing protesters during the enthronement, with dozens reported injured. About 30% of Montenegro's population of 600,000 identify as Serbs. The protests reflect tensions between those who advocate closer ties with Belgrade and others opposing any pro-Serb alliance. The Serbian Orthodox Church has about 12 million followers, mainly in Serbia, Montenegro and Bosnia, all former Yugoslav republics bordering each other. The Taliban claimed victory today against the opposition forces in the Panjshir Valley, northeast of Kabul, declaring that this completed the Islamist group's takeover of Afghanistan and promising it will announce a new government soon. Independent observers confirm that the opposition in the valley has died out. Pictures on social media showed Taliban members standing in front of the gate of the Panjshir provincial governor's compound after fighting over the weekend with the National Resistance Front of Afghanistan, led by Panjshiri leader Ahmad Massoud. The Taliban assured the people of Panjshir, who are ethnically distinct from the Pashtun-dominated Taliban and fought against the Islamists during their rule from 1996 to 2001, that there would be no discriminatory act against them. Massoud, who leads a force drawn from remnants of the regular Afghan army and special force units as well as local militia fighters, said in a Twitter message he was safe but gave no details. Mujahid, the Taliban spokesman, said that he had been told that Massoud and former Vice President Amrullah Saleh had escaped to neighbouring Tajikistan. In the conquest of Panjshir, we had no civilian casualties. No civilian casualties were reported, but, of course, the mobile service was down for 3 or 4 days, and the food did not go there because there was a war on the roads. So from today, food will arrive, electricity will be activated, and mobile and internet services will return there. He also said women were back at work in the health and education sectors. We are ensuring women's rights within the framework of Islamic law. With the formation of the new government, a procedure will be created for women so that women in areas where Islamic law allows them will work and they will be provided with activities. And women have already returned to the Ministry of Health and started working, as well as in the field of education. Militants who swept to power last month as the United States withdrew its troops after a 20-year war banned girls and women from schools, and most worked when they last ruled the country from 1996 to 2001. The Panjshir fighting has been the most prominent example of resistance to the Taliban, but some cities have also witnessed small, isolated protests for women's rights or in defence of the green, red and black flag of the vanquished Afghan Republic. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.